Welcome to the Live Fully with Kratom podcast. I'm your host and co-founder of ETHA, Victor Chung, and with me is head of sales, Sasha. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning.
It's weird. I get into this like, like, I don't know, whatever.
Your radio voice?
This radio voice thing. Just for the intro, though.
I think you practiced that in the bathroom.
Right? How you been?
Pretty good. This morning was a little bit of a rough one, but otherwise pretty good.
Oh, you're so dedicated. Sasha's so dedicated that we had this in the books. It's scheduled, but not required. And she was feeling awful this morning, and yet she's here. I don't know why, but she's here.
Well, you remember I am from the Soviet Union. Things are always required there. So my mentality is always that.
Yeah.
I've lived here more, but my mentality is it's required. You've got to do it. You said you were going to do it, you must do it. Even if you're lying on the floor at 5 o'clock in the morning, curled up with a stomach ache.
Oh. So you're feeling better now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it still doesn't feel great, but it's so much better. I think Kratom, I drank some hot tea, regular tea, like that mint one that we have in the kitchen, and then, so significantly, and I ate some yogurt because I was like, something. So I think it's better. So I don't know if it was food, medicine, because I had a headache yesterday, so I took some medicine. Maybe it was like I took too much on an empty stomach. Whatever. I don't know.
If you can, get this closer to you.
All right.
Our mics are not as sensitive. You gotta have to, like,
Do one of these.
yeah, you gotta love it.
But anyway, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Is it ACMR or what was it? Okay. All right. Today, the reason why we wanted Sasha on this episode is because today I thought you're a good fit for it. And also because Alex is out traveling. He's in the Czech Republic. He was invited to a Kratom symposium. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But today's topic was, I don't know where we got it from. I'm sure it was listeners. Listeners submitted a question. The question was, how do you start your own Kratom brand? Great question. And who better than to have Sasha, who helps folks who want to start their own Kratom brand with the help of ETHA. You're their point person, so that's why you're here.
Also helps to have you, since you actually started your own Kratom brand.
Well, there's that whole thing, but that's fine. They want to have a successful one, though. Oh, that makes money. Kidding. All right, guys, let's get started. Okay, before we get into the topic, we usually cover industry updates, industry news, what's happening in Kratom. If you guys don't have anything, I wanted to bring up the whole Louisiana thing. When this gets broadcast, so we record, and it usually takes us like a week to actually publish the episode. By then, everything that's going on with Louisiana will have been complete. Yesterday there was a big rally in Louisiana. So if you guys haven't heard, we covered it in the last couple episodes. There was a bill SB 154 that criminalizes the use, sale, distribution of Kratom. It's a ban on Kratom.
Having it, just anything.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's everything that we don't want. And it passed in Congress, and now it's at the governor's table, and the governor can veto it or sign it into law. So this is like the last step. This is our last chance. And so there's a big rally that went on yesterday. We'll try to find coverage of it. So Nicole, if you can make a note of it, we'll have we'll have information about the rally, and we'll also have information on the final results, whether or not, we don't know as of right now if it's passed or not. So, but it's all happening right now. This could set horrible precedents. I get some of the reasons why this is now becoming, like, the talk of Kratom bans has subsided in the last couple of years. I mean, this is like early 2016, 2017. There's all of that. There was this big push to ban Kratom, to even make it a scheduled one drug at the federal level. And but the science, all the testimonials, the use case, it just showed that this is so helpful. And as long as if the industry is regulated properly, people should continue to have access to Kratom.
Yeah, the positive definitely outweighs the negative, provided that you're actually providing clean, regulated Kratom. But unfortunately, when they try to pass these bans, they just look at the headlines. They just throw out these scary headlines at you, and people go, "Oh, okay, yes, it is very bad," but you have to actually delve a couple of steps further below. And speaking of Czech Republic, when Alex and I were there a couple of years ago for that other conference, they had people come up as well and talk about, because I were trying to ban Kratom in the Czech Republic, but they had people come up, people who were like, "I cannot get out of bed, I cannot walk if it wasn't for this plant. I literally would not have any kind of life if it wasn't for this plant." And yet they still try to push to have that taken away from people. And I mean, Louisiana has gotten very far with completely, not only just you can't have it, but you're straight up going to be a criminal.
Yeah. And this is like one of several states in the last 6 months. Texas was considering a ban. Florida. I mean, it's becoming a thing. And my take on it is, I think it's because other folks from different industries are getting into the Kratom space. Folks from the cannabis world and kind of that kind of alternative substances world, they're all kind of coming into Kratom, and things like 7-OH, 7-hydroxymitragynine products are becoming very, very prevalent, and they're still being sold in vape shops, smoke shops, and we don't deal very much with that industry, but the little dealings that I've had, things like making sure that things are tested, that things are dosed in a way that is safe use, that doesn't matter.
No,
I mean, I just find that it's the more concentrated better.
I remember when you and I went in, this was like many moons ago, when we went into a couple of smoke shops in the Santee area when we were still down there, and you went and started explaining about the science, the helpfulness, like how we lab test, how we make sure that alkaloids are there, and the guy just looked at you and was like, how much? Basically, like,
what's the cost? What's the profit margin? Which that's fine.
Yeah.
But then, like, the thing that bothered me was, will this get my customers addicted? And like, well, everything is addictive, but no, not in the sense of what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
no, well, I want people to be addicted. I want tolerance to build. I want people to keep on wanting more. So I want it to be stronger. And that might have been that one.
Yeah.
I had it several times, but I had several of these very similar conversations.
Yeah. I mean, it's like cigarettes. Like, the cigarette company is like, you smoke, you become addicted. Great. You're coming back. You're coming back. You're coming back. But not just like, oh, I could use a cigarette. It's like, no, I need a cigarette. Yeah. I need a cigarette to function, or I need XYZ to function.
Yeah, this last champs. So like, take 7-OH for an example. What we find is that a very small amount is enough to give you like significant pain relief. Alex has shared this story about his father who suffers from just severe chronic pain, and he uses like 7.5 milligrams of 7-OH, and he feels great. And then he combines that with whole leaf kratom, and that's like boom, perfect. When I was at Champs, I was seeing 20 milligram, 30 milligrams of 7-OH. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount.
They're selling these little itty bitty tablets, and you're like, oh, it's so small and so cute. And that thing is like 20. That thing is theoretically intended to be 2, sometimes 3 servings.
Yeah, you're supposed to snap it in
but
half.
But nobody's going to do that with a tiny little thing. They're going to, the whole thing goes in your mouth, and then 2 go in your mouth next week, and then 3 go in your mouth the week after.
And it builds tolerance over time. It's like, I get why people then need more. And it just it's a slippery slope. And so, I don't know. That stuff leads to issues. It's being linked to kratom, and so more reports into poison centers and admittance into hospitals for complications occurs. And if you deep dive into it, it's typically related to 7-OH or some synthetic version of kratom. A couple of that stuff is. So some of those products are now being developed and pushed out there,
or even a mixture of product whatever, some
adulterated.
illegal substance XYZ plus kratom, but kratom gets, oh no, it's kratom did it.
And because the person being admitted will just say it's Kratom too, because the packaging will say it's Kratom. And so, all of that is creating confusion in the market and confusion for consumers, and which then leads to confusion for, government officials. They don't know the nuances. They're just saying like, what, all this is Kratom? Yeah. Okay. That's bad. So let's just put a ban on it all. So it's upon us to, help clean up the industry. It's upon us to educate our officials and representatives and let our story be heard. So, I'm hoping that the governor gets the truth and makes the right decision and vetoes this bill. And if it doesn't, then we'll just then becomes a hard work of reversing, which we've done before. So anyway, so that's what's going on in the industry. On a better note, because we're just always talking about just lately.
I just thought about the last time I was on the podcast. I think we had some other bad news, because I remember you going, "Well, not such good news," and I'm like, maybe it's me.
It was probably Texas. Maybe it's Sasha. All right, you can't go on the podcast anymore.
All right, cool.
All right. Another thing. So, if you haven't seen already, I don't know if you guys. Recently there was. I think it was last year. It was published. There was a pilot.
Oh yes, Nicole and I read it all the time.
You guys on? No?
I've literally learned about it from you.
You don't bookmark PubMed?
Nope.
No. Oh, okay, cool.
But I'll start.
So there was a pilot study for a single ascending dose study on Kratom, and the idea was to figure out, get more information on folks using Kratom as they increase their dosage. So starting with like 1 gram up to 12 grams of whole leaf Kratom. And 12 grams, as you guys know, is a significant amount. This whole bottle here has like 2.5, 3 grams. I'm taking the equivalent in tea. So, imagine drinking, several of these to be the same. 12 is a lot. But there are folks that need that much to kind of manage severe chronic pain or whatever issue they may be dealing with. So anyway, the study came out, and thankfully what the study showed, which we all knew, is that it is safe at those doses, at high dose. Great. That was just a pilot study though. So there's a second phase that is happening right now. And so, which is great. You just want to keep on furthering the research. So we are helping the study out. So ETHA is trying to, their challenge right now is trying to find consistent, clean, lab verified Kratom that fits these really strict parameters of like making sure it's clean. Well, clean is what? Well, what's their lead levels? What's the heavy metals? Does it have salmonella, E. coli, all those things? And then also, so on the clean side, it has to be clean. And then also needs to be effective. So what's the alkaloid profile? Yeah. And then you want to make sure that it's going to be consistent for all of the participants in the study. And lo and behold, it's very, very difficult for Kratom manufacturers in the U.S. to provide the study that to meet those parameters. Either their Kratom has like too high of, some heavy metal, or they can't get a consistent alkaloid profile, over and over. Like one sample, sure, but and ETHA can. We go through great lengths to ensure all of that, and so we are supplying it to them. So we're working on that. We want to make sure that this study has the best chance, and we wouldn't want it to be because the Kratom had some issue. Yeah. So we're playing our part, but it's really cool to see that study is continuing, because that's really, really powerful. So that's ETHA doing the ETHA thing.
I know. Awesome. That's good stuff. I like that stuff.
Yeah. So I try to actually participate, and they wouldn't take me.
Did they give you a reason?
No, they didn't give me a reason. So, there's multiple reasons probably.
You are providing the Kratom.
Right. I might be incentivized to lie on my results.
But one person lied.
I'm like dying. I feel great. This is wonderful.
One person out of everybody. That's fine.
Yeah. I wonder how many participants are in the second phase. I can't remember what the first phase had. 40 or 50 participants, the first one. So, okay.
One final
question.
How did they? Did we offer ourselves as a provider, or did they reach out to us?
They went to some other companies. And those companies couldn't provide the right kratom, and so those companies reached out to us because they know us in the industry and said, "ETHA, can you guys? We can't do it. Can you guys do it?" We're like, "Yeah, we can." So, we're actually just deciding on where to source it from. Like, from our. It's just bad timing right now because we just switched out of our greenhouses to new greenhouses, and so a lot of our plants went through some major shock when you're moving, and so and we want to retest to make sure that the move hasn't affected them in a negative way. So there's just a lot of work that goes into it before we just if this was 6 months ago, we'd have just been like, yeah, sure, pick some leaves, dry it, throw it out, give it to them, and it'd been great. So we may have to source it from outside of our greenhouse. So we'll see. But one way or another, we're gonna give it to them. Okay. Let's skip health tips and let's get into the topic. Yeah. I'm just hearing some listeners who say you guys just ramble too much. Don't get to the topic, and look at us doing it again. Okay, so the question is, how do you start your own kratom company? So I pulled a list of questions thanks to good old Chat GPT. What are some questions that if you are starting your own company, you should consider before putting in the time, work, resources into it? So I thought it'd be nice for us just to have a little conversation about it. So the first one is why do you want to even start the business? I find that to be really that core question is so important. Whenever I ask a person, they go, well, to make money is usually the top reason.
I need a job.
And I was well, starting your own business is literally the hardest way to make money. Getting a job is way easier.
When I was coaching gymnastics, so many parents, so many people come up to me you should start your own gym, and I'm like, hell no. I like coaching. I'm good at coaching. All that other stuff finding a space, rent, paying rent, all the little nitty gritty every day, dealing with bills, dealing whatever. Oh my God. So yeah, starting a business has never been it's hard. It's super hard. It's insane.
Yeah. I think I've said it a lot of times, people want to own a business, but people don't really want to run a business.
Yeah, that's
running a business is
distinction.
Hard. You want the prestige, I'm a business owner.
I'll do what I love.
I got all the freedom in the world. 2 a.m. you're going to be taking meetings. There isn't much freedom there. That being said, it's just good to go through the exercise. Again, these are questions. If you really are thinking about starting your own kratom brand, think through some of these questions. So why are you starting? Why do you want to own a business? Is it to make money? Obviously, you want to make money. You don't want to. This is not a charity, but what's your personal mission? Some of these things are really important to think through, because those having that mission beyond wealth, beyond trying to get money, will help get you through the tough times. Because there will be tough times. There are going to be catastrophically horrible times, and you're just going to be down, and you can't make rent or something, or you don't have enough product, or just something bad just happens. But you have to put in 48 hours straight, no sleep, to get this thing solved and work. What gets you through it is knowing that you have a personal mission beyond making money.
And the specific, not just why do you want to own a business, or that particular business, that particular service, or that particular product, in this case kratom, but why kratom specifically? So and some people have personal stories. Alex is a personal story. You have a personal story. You guys were entrepreneurs before, but specifically you went into kratom because of what happened to you when you found kratom, when using kratom, and that's what gets you through some of those rough times. You remember, okay, we're in it because fill in the blank. Helping people. We're in it because I had a family member that suffered chronic pain, and they tried this product, and I fell in love with how they felt when they tried it and how much better they felt. And now I want to share that product with the rest of the world, or whatever. So why do you want to start a business? And then that specific business, that specific service or product that you want to sell or provide.
Yeah. It just helps when you're proud of what you're doing. You know, our previous business, we talked about this many times before. Our previous business was profitable, did well, and you know, we had tons of employees and doing great, but it just wasn't like it didn't nourish the soul. Like we're just doing mobile accessories. Like you can only get so excited about a phone case or screen protector, you know, another iPhone coming out.
Given what happened to your phone protector.
Hey, yeah, I broke my phone last week, so I'm waiting on my replacement phone right now. Anyway, yeah, so it's, you know, and we had to work really hard to make that company something that we were proud of. And, you know, we end up doing, we end up hiring folks with developmental and physical disabilities to do all of our assembly work. And that gave, for me personally, it gave me the reason like, okay, yes, it's just mobile accessories, but because of it, I'm providing jobs for people that would not necessarily, they were not, by the way, we purposely paid great wages to this population of folks get taken advantage of constantly. They get paid like piecemeal rates on doing assembly work, where it's like pennies, you know, to do assembly. And we made sure that, you know, folks were getting at least minimum wage, if not more. And so that's what got me through it. So again, like what's the reason for starting business? That could be your reason. It could be that you're trying to, you know, create jobs for folks. And that's a great reason. So have a good personal mission, have a good financial plan too, on how you're actually going to, you know, get the plan in place, the business plan in place. Another good question to answer: what problem am I solving? So I think this is. Let's take it for Kratom specifically. It just helps because Kratom can do so many things. You can target a specific, you know, condition or benefit set. So if you want to say, if your thing is, you know, making sure people have like an energy replacement, fitness or something like that, then I would say, especially when you're starting out, be as specific as possible and then broaden over time. You don't want to try to, you know, do everything right off the bat. You're just going to do a lot of things poorly.
I mean, as simple as when you have your laptop open with 33 different tabs.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything. You're just jumping between tabs, and you're like, I can do it all. No, you can't. Or you're doing a crappy job with each of those, you know, projects.
Yep. Yeah. So just choose. You know, if it's, you know, for us it was chronic pain, and that's what started the whole thing off. So that's why we started Sunrise and Sunset were our two formulas. Those are the things that we created for ourselves to use, and it was effective. And we said we want to share this experience with others. And over time, we now have like, I don't know, 60 something products that do all kinds of things. But it really did just start out with just, that was it. Pain relief, all natural. I could use daily, and it makes me a better person. Doesn't make me a worse person. Those are the kind of things that drove us in the beginning. And so find out what's your thing. If it's mood enhancement, if it's, you know, it could be, you know, helping folks with kind of mental challenges, depression, anxiety, fitness, energy replacement, sleep at night. There's all kinds of things that this amazing plant can do. Focus in. And I would say also don't have too many, in the same line, don't have so many SKUs.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to just want to like, let's have this product,
that's one of the questions when people do reach out to me. My first question always is why Kratom? And then after that, it's like, okay, well, what do you want to do with Kratom? And why do you want to do that with Kratom? And then we will move on one step further with, okay, how many products do you want to offer? And they're like, well, I want to do this and this and this. And I was like, okay, too much, unless you have unlimited funds, unless you have like unlimited time, energy, and staff, like you need to, it's much more efficient most times to start small, just like you said, 2 SKUs. Yeah. Single purpose and 2 SKUs, and then from there you can gradually build, and then once those become successful, your clients will tell you, hey, by the way, can you also do this? Hey, by the way, can you mix Kratom and matcha? Can you mix Kratom and, you know, GABA?
Yeah, no, you must. That is a constant challenge. But people have this. I love the that initial energy, that like
And
enthusiasm.
you
when they
get
first
really
come in.
excited about that. I have to kind of like bring you
Yeah.
down. He's like, oh, like Victor, we got this email, and he's like, yes, and I'm like, no, that's
Yeah, like we want to do this and that. And I'm like, you should do all that. That's all great stuff, and we can help you with all of it. And like, yeah, but
yeah. But then when you,
and it was a challenge.
Yeah. Just even keeping track of like what you want to do, you're human, so you're gonna deviate, you're gonna forget. But if you have this like 2 little focal points or 1 focal point, then it's a lot easier than having 73 tabs open again and jumping from one thing to another thing and doing them all badly or inefficiently.
Next question: who is my ideal customer? That kind of goes along the same lines of what we're talking about. Taking the time to kind of figure out your customer, like doing like a customer segment or a profile is important too. It'll help to, because in the beginning you have to develop your brand, develop, what's the vision for your business, but then also what's the look and feel of it, and how do you want to present yourself to the world? And it starts with knowing what your customer is, and then you will speak to that customer. So we at the beginning, we put a lot of effort into literally drawing out, describing these fictitious people, and making a backstory behind them. And that just helped us to develop these products and our vision for the business. We would have never, if you had asked Alex and I to create ETHA in the beginning, which we did in the beginning, you guys should see some of the original stuff. It's just like, of course, it was very much like what we personally would like. This spoke to Alex and me. But when we started doing the work, we figured, we're not selling to Alex and Victor. There's only so many of us out there. Who we're actually selling to looks very different. And so the brand itself needs to match and speak to that type of customer. And that's why ETHA looks the way it looks and speaks the way it speaks. It's very different than like if you just go to like go to my closet or go to my house and see the walls and hear, it's not ETHA at all. It's goofy and childish and sometimes, super silly and nerdy. And that's not the customer base that we were going after. So yeah, doing some, figuring out who your ideal customer is. Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I agree. And even if you say, okay, something like I want to target people that are in pain, with that itself, you have to narrow it down because, like you said, you're in pain, Alex is in pain, but there's only so many people that are Alex and Victor pain. Then there's me who comes in with completely different pain and completely different needs or values or whatever. And then there's Nicole or there's, Sam or Susie. And, some people treat pain differently. I just want to forget my pain. I want to like minimize my pain so I can still be lucid and effective and do this. Or so everybody approaches, even though it's pain, everybody feels it differently. Everybody approaches it differently. Everybody wants to deal with it differently. Yeah. So who are you targeting? Just the Victor and Alex's? Or do you want to expand to the athletes as well, who are in different type of pain than say like, or versus like an office worker who made, stuff like that. So you kind of have to continually make lists and narrow down and like maybe take some people off if it gets too broad or too long. So
start with a lot. I actually we built out in the beginning. We built out like whatever it was, 8 or 10 different profiles.
Because it's easy to say like people that are in pain. Okay, great.
Yeah,
but
you're talking about women. You're talking about men. Talking about
that's true.
People,
I didn't forget about that.
Yeah, you're talking about sports enthusiasts. Or you're speaking, to, ex-athletes. And there's all these, and just take the time. What another thing I like to recommend folks that are getting into starting any company, Kratom or not, is go out there and just find brands that you admire.
I remember
go out
you
there and
saying
see
that.
like, ooh, and write down what are the reasons why you like this brand. Like, okay, is it the color palette? Is the language they're using? Is it, what is it? What is it about it that attracts you to them? And do you want to, leverage, steal their ideas? No, you just leverage their brand and take, get influenced by it. What makes my Kratom product different or better? Yeah, that's a good one too. Again, the same kind of like thought process of just figuring out, do you want to just do more of the same? If you're going to do more of the same, your chances of success are going to be, impossible. Any industry, even the kratom industry, especially now, there's just too many options, too much choice out there. You really do need to have something to differentiate.
I think, especially for kratom specifically, if you want to do more of the same, I think you got to have boatloads of money just so you can like dominate with money, just dominate with
and that could be
ads, dominate with whatever.
That could be it. That could be like what makes
getting
you different.
Sales reps and like
Yeah, what your difference is the ability to go out there and
or even champs. Like I'm thinking about everybody. Okay, let's say they're all selling. There's 5, 10, 50, whatever booths. Some booths are bigger. They have more money, so more customers are going to gravitate towards that one. Some booths are green and purple, and I'm like going to gravitate that way. So
so figure out what differentiates, and it could just be price. If you're gonna do more of the same, and you just want to compete by price, okay, then that's fine. But figure out what it is. For us, it was we only went into this first. It was because we discovered something that is amazing that we personally were connected to. But the second question or third or fourth question we answered was, you guys are literally going, these are the questions that we went through ourselves, was how are we going to differentiate? And what we saw was there was no lab testing or very little laughable lab testing when we started in this industry. There's like one company that was doing it, and they were not doing it correct at all. We ended up having to work with them to figure out how to test at the time, they only test mitragynine, how to test mitragynine properly. They were not doing it correctly. But we said, okay, lab testing could be a way to differentiate. And then second was form factor. It was just powders and capsules at the time. Mm-hmm. And so we said we can come up with something, our pressed tablets with no other fillers, binders, additives, just pure kratom, but in an easy way to consume. So we had form factor, lab testing. And then third was we just wanted to be transparent. We were just so sick of at that time, Alex and I were getting into supplements a bit and like just struggling to figure out what's good and bad. And why is this so hard? I just want to, if I buy Tomcat LE, I just want to know that it's pure and that it works and then how much I should take. Is that too much to ask?
Yes, apparently.
Right? And it still is to this day. It's so hard, right? And so we said, if we're going to start ETHA, we're going to make it easy for our customers. We'll be transparent. They should be able to easily access lab test results, and we should be accessible enough to our customers to help guide them through their kratom journey. And that's why we do things like this podcast and have a great customer service team, all of it. And why there's a QR code behind every package. From day one, we had test results on every package of thing we sold, and you can pull up the actual certificates of analysis. And those are our main 3 pillars. So come up with yours. What is your thing? What's the thing that differentiates you from everybody else? Anything on that one?
No, I agree. That was good. Well said.
All right. This is a good question to answer. What part of the business do I want to do? Nowadays, you don't have to do it all. Like, when Alex and I started this thing, we didn't have many options. And so we decided to do everything. Manufacturing, making our own products, R&D, fulfillment, sourcing, marketing, sales, all of it we just did. And to this day, we still do. But, today you don't have to. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of people making kratom products out there. I should say plenty. There's only a handful, but there are some options. And ETHA is one of those. So we actually do make products.
The best one.
For what we do. So do you want to tell them about our white label, private label programs?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, we do get inquiries from companies or individuals who are looking to start a kratom brand or who have have an existing brand maybe that for some other products and they want to introduce kratom into their offering. So again, my first question is always, why do you want to either do kratom, focus kratom, or why do you want to add kratom? Is it because you're offering already some, pain relief products or some health and wellness products and you want to supplement? Or is it because you have your own powerful kratom story and now you just want to go out there and share it with the world? But again, so, once you get past that initial one, the next one, of course, is, okay, how big do you want to go? Like, do you want to start small and, 2 products, 2 SKUs, or do you want to just go at it because you have boatloads of money, you have boatloads of staff or whatnot? You can just go for it. So for us, it's we have to figure out okay, and then what do you want to do? What do you want to offer? Are you looking to offer powders? Are you looking to offer tablets? Are you looking to offer liquids, drinks, whatever, teas? So we keep narrowing it down to what these people want to offer. So different options are probably the simplest is I love ETHA. ETHA is the best. I know people trust ETHA. I know ETHA has quality. So all I really want to do is just take your tablets and put them in a bag that has my label on it. That's the simplest one. Yeah. And even with that one, it sounds simple, but it's not that simple because, okay, packaging. Are you going to do your own packaging? Are you going to hire somebody to do your own packaging? ETHA always offers the option to help along. We have like a strict checklist that you can go down line by line where you can create your own packaging, where you can have us help you part of the way, the whole way, or you can just outsource the whole thing to a third party and they'll do it for you. I think that's one of the ones we did. Or
yeah. So this is like Sasha was saying, there are different scenarios in which people engage with us. So it could be, person has no company at all, wants to start a brand from scratch, and then start carrying Kratom. Others, are established brands. Yeah. And so one of them, this is Super Speciosa, and they wanted to get into tablets. And in the beginning, we did their packaging design and helped them with that side of it. And now they just buy bulk from us and they take care of their own thing. They were
already super established, but that's one type of SKU that they didn't offer.
By the way, great brand, great Kratom Company. We love having them as partners. We help each other. So it's a two-way street. So we help develop products for them. They help us as well. They're a reputable brand. They do everything kind of like similar to us. They care about lab testing, providing quality Kratom. So we're good friends with Super Speciosa. So go ahead and buy their products, especially their tablets.
The tablets are great. But yeah, so now they've switched from doing the white label to just buying bulk. Everything else they take care of themselves. So, but again, like Victor was saying, there's so many things that you need to do, and you don't have to do them all by yourself. You can outsource a lot of things. And still come to your vision. And that's where ETHA is a great helper, because packaging, we can help with that. Figuring out what product, what SKUs you want to ultimately end up with, we can help with that. Are you targeting people that are suffering with pain? Okay, let's start you out small, like 2 SKUs that are solely for pain. Or if you're targeting fitness enthusiast athletes, let's move over to like our energy blends, things like that. So you decide what you want to do on your own, and ETHA can help you. And honestly, it's for some people who they don't grasp how difficult it is to start your own company. But then there's also private label option, which is like kind of the next tier or an alternative, where you want to not only create your own brand, or you have your own brand, you have your own logo, but you want to create your own product. And that's where Alex and his team, again, shine, because they're our R&D team. They can literally create the moon. You can tell them what you want, and Alex will find a way to make it work. Make it effective, make it great. Again, obviously a much pricier option because you're now paying for products, you're now paying R&D, which is a lot of guesswork and very expensive and lengthy.
Yeah, unless you're just lucky.
Unless you...
Or not picky.
Yeah, that's true.
But like usually when folks go down this route, it's because they have a very clear vision, which they should. They want a product that's like, this is what I want this product to do. And these are the things I want in it, and it needs to work, it needs to taste great, or whatever, all these things. Okay, all right. And then to get there it's going to be a journey.
Mind Bullet tea.
Yeah. I love that one. That one. Alpha GPT, GPC. Yeah.
Mind Bullet wanted a tea for fitness enthusiasts, but it had to have certain ingredients. It had to not have certain ingredients. It had to do certain things, taste a certain way, not taste a certain way. So these were, because their clientele was people that demanded perfection, or bodybuilders that demanded something very intense. And Alex went through numerous levels and steps, but we got there in the end. They loved it. It tastes great, like you said. So that's private label.
I missed that, actually. My favorite thing is because we get to sample all the R&D stuff that's around. That's one of the, I remember.
We're Alex's guinea pigs.
Exactly. It'd just be in the refrigerator. I'm like, what is
sometimes
that?
Sometimes he'll be like, just try this. And we're like, what? He's like, just try it.
I'm like, okay. And then we get to record a podcast. Like, yeah, that's always, those are fun times. Right now we're working on like 3 or 4 different I want to talk about them, but I don't think we're allowed to quite yet. They
No,
haven't
and plus
fully launched.
Nicole's doing this motion.
Oh, we need to wrap it up? Okay. Yeah. So, so, ETHA is here to help, obviously, but you don't need to use us to start your own Kratom company, but it definitely makes things a lot easier. We can do the R&D for you, develop the products for you. Like, Sasha said, we can kind of do it all for you. But if you are just interested in getting into this space and you just have questions, feel free to just shoot them over to us. I answer so many questions for folks, and we do no business with with folks. We're just happy to share, and we welcome more folks into the industry. Just as long as you're kind of doing things right. We need more folks trying to do it correctly versus just the slew of people that are coming in that don't.
The more folks we have doing things correctly, the more we can stand against things like Louisiana. If we can
exactly.
show that everybody's doing things correctly, or a majority of people doing things correctly, then you won't have these insane report. I mean, you still will, but they'll go significantly decrease when they won't be able to point and say, see, this person got sick because of XYZ.
Yeah. So here's some quick rundown of questions. We'll include it in the description, but where are you going to source your Kratom? How are you going to ensure it's safe and legal? It's a big deal. Most Kratom comes from Indonesia, but there are many, 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 many suppliers out of Indonesia. So navigating all that can be a challenge. Thailand is also coming into this scene too for sourcing, and there'll be others. Or do you just get it locally from the U.S.? Now, know that if you're going to get it locally, it's probably going to come from Indonesia anyway. It's rare to find something like an ETHA where we grow our own Kratom. I don't know of companies that do that. Vendor certifications, lab testing, aka GMP compliance. So look into good manufacturing practices, or GMP, and making sure you're documenting and following GMP. The American Kratom Association has a GMP compliance program that helps folks along the path. You have to get audited to make sure your facility is doing things correctly. It's fairly easy to do, but it's just, you just do it. What are the federal state regulations I must comply with? You want to, again, depending on the state, there are going to be some bans.
Probably better not to start a brand, Kratom brand in Louisiana right now.
Yeah, unfortunately there are some states that have Kratom that are banned. There are bans on Kratom in those states, so just make sure you're complying with those. You don't want to get shut down. How will I handle labeling, claims, and disclaimers? Yep, you mentioned that. You got to make sure you're putting all the right stuff down on your labels and on your website. What is illegally allowed? You want to make sure you're not making drug claims, benefit claims. That's a slippery slope. People do it all the time. They're like, well, I took this and I am pain free, so I want to share this message with the world.
This makes pain go away completely, 100%. And
then you're going to get an FCC complaint, and you're going to have to pull it down, and then forever on the web, that'll be there as a bad mark on you for making claims, and they can shut you down. So you just want to make sure you're doing everything on the up and up and being careful on your language, on your claims. And do I plan for product testing and quality control? That's huge in this industry now, and so make sure you're testing things properly. How are you going to do it? Who are you going to do it with? And have that all documented. Anyway, we'll include all this stuff in the description notes for you guys. And again, if you have any questions, just reach out to us. We're here to help, and we're just excited. Like I said, man, some of the partners we have that are coming up. One company, it's this guy he couldn't even get out of bed. He was. You know who I'm talking about, right? And found our products, and now is back to mountain climbing. Was it?
I don't remember, but
yeah, I think it's mountain climbing. So he used to do like free climbing or something like that, and then had to give up his passion because he just became he had this condition. I forgot what it was, but for causing all kinds of pain and making him just super tired, and he couldn't get out of bed. Took Kratom, and he's been taking our Kratom, and that's like got his life back. And so he partnered with a friend, and they started a company, and we're helping them along the way. I'm super excited about that company.
Yeah, no, they're great. They're great dudes.
Yeah, and then there's another one we started last year, maybe even longer. The female specific brand.
Oh, yes. So that was one that I had thought of. Sorry, Nicole, really fast. That was one I was thinking about when she wanted to do like 13 different things, and we kept telling her, go small, go small, go small, start 2 and then expand. Like it's much easier, or not easier. It's less things to stress you out. You're still going to be stressed, but at least you have 2 SKUs to stress over, not 32,
Yeah. And she's a good example of, you think you just get this done in like a month or two and just let's go, and it's taking some time.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is.
And it's just personalities too. Some people, like you said, aren't as demanding. Some people know exactly what they want, what they don't want, what colors, what not colors, things like that. So it gets a little tougher.
Yeah. So anyway, those will be coming out, and if they want our help, we'll shout it out in our next podcast. Let you guys know about these partners of ours. All right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys found this to be helpful at all, if you like us going live, let us know. And if you can, support the show by shopping for your Kratom at ETHAnaturals.com or ETHAKratom.com. Like and subscribe. I don't know.
And if you have
what
questions,
all the kids are saying these days.
Yeah, if you have questions, email us. We're helpful. We try to help, so we'll answer your questions.
Sasha's direct email is no, right to wholesale.
Her cell phone number is
wholesale at ETHAnaturals.com, I think.
And then also sales at ETHAnaturals. They both go to me, so and I'm pretty neurotic, so I'll respond pretty quickly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Okay. And if you have any questions, submit it as usual. You can write to us at podcast@ETHAnaturals.com or leave a comment on one of our, on Spotify or YouTube or whatever. We'll get to it and maybe devote another full episode to your question. All right, guys. Until next time, I'm Victor.
Sasha.
Nicole.
As always,
Live fully.
Live fully. I was so late.
Live fully.